Hello, hello, hello. This is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, helping you live the dream through travel. Oh boy, it is good to be in his house again today. So it's been a minute since I've done a live. A lot's been going on. I have been traveling. So um, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in. I appreciate it. Let me check to see if there's anybody watching live right now. I'm looking for comments. Remember, I'm broadcasting using StreamYard. So, in order for me to see your comments or your name, if you make comments, you've got to grant StreamYard permission. And that most likely will be in my Facebook group. So, one thing, what I always do, because I'm a one woman show, is I always check, and double check to see if I am actually live. So, I have a second device here, my mobile phone. I'm checking to see if I am live. So, let me check on my page. Am I live? Am I live? Am I streaming live? Let's see. Yep, it looks like I'm streaming live. Yep, and I can hear. So now I know that it's working because sometimes it has happened to me where I was doing one of these lives and the volume wasn't working. So I had to do the whole thing over. It, I spoke for like 20 minutes. So today's topic is travel, international travel in a mid pandemic world. I said a mid pandemic world. I used to say post pandemic, but not anymore, right? Because it's not post pandemic. We're still there. So, travel, more specifically, international travel in a mid pandemic world. That's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So, I'm Priscilla with Scylla Travel, and I help you live the dream through travel. I serve active adults, women entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals, and I help them. I help you reconnect with your inner explorer. So, let me see. Do I have any comments? No, I do not at this time. But remember, if you do, please grant StreamYard permission to see your profile name. So we're going to go on. I'm going to move it right along to international travel. In a can't talk in a mid-pandemic world because the pandemic is not over. So as much as we want it to be, it's not quite. So let us see. Come on, slide number 2. So what I'm going to talk to you today are three things, basically, just these 3 bullet points, right? Um, U.S. travel, meaning, and I typed that wrong. It's open to international travelers, my 2021 travels, and Real ID. Okay. And a couple other things along with that go along with that Real ID along that vein. Okay. So, the United States has reopened to fully vaccinated international travelers. So now people can, be reunited with their families, and however, you have to be fully vaccinated. And there are some exceptions, like if there's a health exemption. But for the most part, you have to be vaccinated to enter into the United States. And that goes for US travelers as well. That goes for US travelers as well. For those of you who are US citizens and you do manage to leave the country and go to Mexico because you don't need to be vaccinated and you don't need a COVID-19 test to enter Mexico, in order to come back, it's going to be more difficult. So starting November the 8th, that's in a few days, 9 days, I believe, because today is the 30th. Yeah, 8 days, actually. In 8 days, it's going to be tougher for people entering the U.S., meaning U.S. citizens, to re enter unless they've been vaccinated. So, if you're not vaccinated, you have to have a negative PCR test. They do accept the rapid antigen. I'll check to make double check to make sure that they didn't change that, but it has to be within 24 hours because right now, until the 8th, um, it's 36 hours. So you have 3 days to get your test. So travel is starting up again. International travel is starting up here in the US. And my mouse doesn't want to work today. So, my travels. So this is what I've been up to, right? Um, I have been traveling. So, May of 2021, my lovely assistant and I, Caitlin, we went to Cancun, Mexico. That was earlier. I am vaccinated, so I had my second dose before we left. It was the end of May. And then we went to Cancun, Mexico. We had to have a COVID-19 test to return. We didn't need one to go to Mexico. However, the hotel, the resort, we stayed at the Malia properties, the Paradises properties. We stayed at two of them, one in Cancun and one in Playa del Carmen. They have extra health protocols in place. So these are some of the things that you would want to look out for if you want to travel internationally. And I know that some people are a little, nervous about traveling internationally. It's possible to travel internationally. So this is my third trip in 2021 traveling internationally. And I actually have not traveled domestically yet. Next week will be my first domestic trip in about 2 years, as a matter of fact. My last domestic trip was in 2019 to New Orleans. So I'm going to Nashville for a conference this week coming up, middle of this week. Yeah, it's overnight, but that'll be my first domestic trip, actually. But I've taken 3 international trips so far. Um, the second trip I took was and you may have seen some of my posts, was to France on a river cruise. And it was awesome. That was last month in September. So these are just some of the things that I did see. There were some really great um, sites that I saw. We toured. I took a river cruise on the Rhone River on Alma Waterways. Alma Waterways is a river cruise company that cruises in Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America beginning 2023 on the Magdalena River. And I went on a 7-day cruise, river cruise through France. It was called the Colors of Provence. I'm learning to speak French now. The Colors of Provence. And it was 7 days where I sailed from Avignon all the way up to Lyon, and then I spent 3 nights in Paris. So this is the Sacré-Cœur. I'm sure I'm not saying that, pronouncing it properly. That's the Sacred Heart Church of Paris. And it's in Paris, right? So I saw that. Pont du Gard. This is one of the most breathtaking sights that I saw. That I really was impressed with Pont du Gard. Pont du Gard is an ancient Roman aqueduct built in the 1st century, and it's still there. It was actually a water bridge. Okay. Um, and that water bridge, that just means that it just took water from the mountains or the hilltop down to through the valley, through the coast, where the Romans were stationed. So Pont du Gard, that was one of the places that I visited while I was in France on the river cruise. Awesome, awesome. I loved it. Okay, like I said, Cancun. My daughter and I went to Cancun in May. My lovely assistant, and that's just a picture of us there. And whoa, let me go back. Now I just returned from Antigua. All right. So Antigua and Barbuda, and I stayed at Sandals Grand Antigua. That was this month. So this is actually my third trip abroad. So it is very possible for you to travel internationally. So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, helping you live the dream through travel. I'm very happy that you decided to tune in. And those of you who are on the replay audience, I'm extra specially happy that you would take time out of your day to listen to see what I have to say. So I'm talking about international travel during the pandemic, right? Because we're still in it. You would think that we would be out of it by now, but we're not. So I just wanted to let you know that it is possible to travel. It's just that you have to know what those protocols are, right? So um, each place was different, and the timing is different, as a matter of fact. So when we traveled in to Mexico, we didn't need a COVID test to go to Mexico, but we needed to have a test to return back home to the U.S. Um, Now, one thing that if you do decide to travel is, and you need to pay special attention to, are the protocols that these places, not only the hotels and resorts, but the destinations themselves, if they have protocols in place. So the places that we've been staying, they have, and traveling with the companies we've been traveling with, they have enhanced cleaning protocols in place. So, just to make note that if you do travel, you want to make sure that these places have these things. And let's say that you do test positive for some reason, that they will comp you or allow you to stay on property for 2 weeks. And please, you must have travel insurance. Don't even think about traveling internationally without travel insurance because anything could happen. Right now, things are a little bit miscombobulated with TSA. We're just going to have to go through, it's going to be like that for a while. So your baggage could get lost, your plane could get delayed. It's impossible, excuse me, it is important that you have travel insurance to cover you. And if you do travel internationally, make sure you have some money because you may have to come out of pocket for something. But if you have a good insurance plan, they will reimburse you. They'll directly deposit it into your bank account maybe the next day or so. But you still need to make sure that you've got to have these backup systems in place while you're traveling, going overseas. So I've been to Mexico, that's Central America, been to the Caribbean in Antigua, and been to Europe. That's um, France on a river cruise. So let's see what else is next. What I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, um, yep, stayed at Sandals Grand Antigua. Now, cruising is back. So I was on a river cruise, right? Yes, a river cruise, but that was in Europe. I just gotta let you guys know that in order to travel in Europe, you're going to need to be vaccinated. So there's just no way around it. They're requiring it. When I went to France, um, I had to, they did accept my CDC card, my CDC vaccination card. However, I had to go to a portal, apply for it's like a visit request. You don't need a visa to go to Europe, but I needed to apply to visit and upload my documents. I had to have they needed a copy of my passport. They needed a copy of my COVID-19 vaccine card because they issue a what they call a sanitary or a certificate so that you can enter. Um, any type of attraction, whether that be museums, even going into the restaurants. Now, when I was traveling in the south of France, we didn't get a lot of pushback when we had our card, right? However, when I got to Paris, yes, they did question me on it. They were like, can't serve you, can't serve you without the sanitary, which is just your digital pass. So, this is not just going on in the U.S. This is going on all over the world. So even in Antigua, they started their vaccination program. Their kids just went back to school. They all have to be vaccinated, um, and life goes on. So I just wanted you guys to know what to look out for. It's possible to travel, and there are a lot of people traveling, I got to tell you, but you got to be prepared. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the real ID, right? So that was a thing. This is being pushed out till May 3rd of 2023. This is the special drive enhanced driver's license where you see either a star on the right or the left of the driver's license. And you're going to need that. The deadline's been pushed out to May 3rd of 2023. So that's for the real ID. However, there's some other things that you may be interested in, such as global entry, because like I said, um, it's quite it can be quite challenging traveling right now, going through TSA. Um, Back in May, I went from because I'm in the Charleston area, I took a flight. My assistant and I flew from Charleston to Miami, and then from Miami to Cancun. But coming back, we flew into Charlotte. And coming back into the US, it was challenging going through customs. So even though I have TSA pre-check, TSA pre-check is means that you're a trusted traveler, right? So you apply for that. It's a free program. You apply for it. You get a known traveler number. They interview you. I went to the Social Security office with my family. I already had it by virtue of my job. I had already had it, but I made appointments for them. So going through TSA, we could go domestically. We could go through, we didn't have to do all of the, we went through a separate line. You didn't have to take off your shoes. You didn't have to take your laptop out, because you're a trusted traveler, and we were able to go through that screening process sooner. However, there are things happening right now. When you're coming back into the country, that TSA pre-check does not count. You need global entry, right? Global entry is through Homeland Security as well. You pay the fee. There's a fee for it, but you have to have an interview. Now, it's their global entry interview sites are not in every city. There's not one in Charleston. I can't go to Social Security to do it. I have to go to Charlotte or Atlanta. Those are the two closest ones for me. However, you can get a conditional approval so that when you're coming back into the country, you can do your interview at the airport as you're coming back in. I didn't have time to do it both times because my planes were delayed. So hopefully the next trip, I have like 8 months to do it, my next international trip. And yes, I will be traveling again. I will be able to get some time to do that and get my global entry turned on so then I can go through the fast line. Now, what I did do is I also applied for Clear. Clear is another program, but it's private, where they have your fingerprints and your facial recognition. And there are these kiosks that you can go through, and you can go to the front of the TSA line. Now, coming back from France, I did do that one because they had someone there. And I was able to go straight to the front of the line with Clear, but Clear is not everywhere. But Clear, I read an article where now if you have Clear, you can make an appointment to go through your TSA screening. So that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll be talking to you about that later. So that's basically all I had to say to you today, right? You can follow me on Instagram. Uh, where I do go live on Instagram a bit more than I do on Facebook, but I'm coming back to Facebook because Instagram is just a little quirky. They're changing. I got off Facebook for a while because they were quirky, so now I'm back. So I just wanted to pop on here to let you know and talk to you about traveling in during the pandemic. It is possible, but make sure that you are vaccinated. And this is not political at all. Make sure that you're vaccinated because you're not going to be able to travel many places internationally, abroad, without a vaccine. They're just not going to let you in. And there's wearing masks is not a thing. So People just wear it. It's not political. It's just a thing. Put it on and just go on about your business. So, when I was flying back from Paris on Delta through from Heathrow to JFK, they had male flight attendants and they were like saying, "Okay, put your mask on. We're serving you some food. And if you feel as though you want to leisurely eat your food, I we encourage you to put your mask back on, take it off when you're ready to take some bites, and if you want to take a break, put your mask back on." So I was like, "Wow, okay, I hear you." So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, and I just wanted to come on here and talk to you about where I have been. I have traveled 3 times in 2021 internationally, and there are some challenges, but it is possible to do it safely. And you just got to have patience. You got to be prepared. Make sure you have at least 3 hours between your connecting flights because there's a lot of walking. They're not fully staffed to get yet in all of the airports. And which is what happened on our way back from Antigua when we got to from Antigua to Miami. They didn't have enough TSA agents. It was in the evening time, and it just took longer. So we made it to our plane, or me. I actually went alone, but I met some new people, some other travel agents there, and we all flew back on the same flight. And it was a little um, unorganized, but that's just how it is. So you just have to be prepared. Make sure, number one, make sure that you have travel insurance. Make sure that you know where you're going to stay has enhanced safety and enhanced cleanliness protocols in place. Make sure, number three, that that place has a provision where you can stay in case you test positive, because you don't want to go somewhere and you test positive to come back home and they're like, "Oh, so sorry, you gotta go stay at some government facility." You don't want that. So these are all the things that you have to consider when you're traveling internationally. And it's a lot, you know. So that's why I advise you to hire a travel advisor, right? A travel advisor, these are the things that I do for my clients. I actually know where to find these places and look for them, you know, and I ask those questions. If my client were to test positive, what's the rule there in the country? Will they be shuttled off to some government facility, or will you, the hotel, allow them to stay, providing they have travel insurance? So that's another thing. Make sure you've got travel insurance. Don't even try traveling overseas internationally without travel insurance, and make sure that you have a little bit of cash. So, this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel with just some tips and giving you just a little overview of where I've been for the past few months. Been traveling and it's been nice. I've been living the dream. So, this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel signing off, hoping that you have a great rest of your day. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say, right? One more thing. Remember, as always, live the dream. Bye bye.